right,
So
let's start.
let's start here. 3:30, June 7th, Senior Commission meeting. So let's go call roll to establish a quorum. So Commissioner O'Reilly,
Present.
Commissioner Sedgey,
Here.
Commissioner Cohen,
Here.
Commissioner Lee,
Here.
Commissioner Buckholz, and we've got Steph Liaison, Matheson
Here.
here, and Los Altos Hills, Robustelli.
She's not here yet.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, I mean, do I really need to call out the liaison folks, or
No.
just,
No,
Okay.
Just the commissioners, yeah.
it looks like we've established a quorum.
Well, I think Commissioner Yu hasn't been present, so you might want to call her and record as absent.
Bridget, you want to share that information
say that one more time.
about Commissioner Yu?
Oh, yes. You may have noticed there was an email that went out. Not available. She's moving, so we're sorry to see her go. We really appreciate all her hard work. But she's going to be moving at the end of this month, so she won't be here. And then I believe, Chair Nagayo, before we start the Pledge of Allegiance, it's just if there's any public comment.
So do we have any public comment? Do we know if we've got public audio?
Did not receive a agenda. We just need to pause for to make sure.
Okay, so now that we've established a quorum, we'll need to do the Pledge of Allegiance.
Let me share my screen for you guys. I'll get the flag up. Bear with me for just a moment. Okay.
All right. So shall we start? Commissioner O'Reilly,
Yes.
will you start for us?
Certainly. I pledge allegiance
Pledge allegiance to the flag
United
United States of
States of
America
America.
and to the
Republic
for
for
which
which it stands,
one
nation
nation,
under God,
under God,
indivisible,
indivisible, with
with
liberty
liberty.
and justice for all.
Right, thank you. So at this time, we do have a special presentation by Annabelle Pelham, and she's going to do the presentation on age. Really,
Annabelle, how do you spell your first name?
A-N-A.
all right.
Hello.
where?
I'll try to keep an eye on the when enough is steps. The world's population team to study city. They studied about 34 to 36 cities. They sent out a team of scientists, and they studied these cities very carefully, and they came up with 8 domains that they thought were crucial, were critical, were central and evidence-based to what would need to exist in a community and a city to make it age-friendly. So they cities go through that. For reasons that are beyond me, because I'm a gerontologist, a professor of gerontology, and my field is relatively rare, I've had an opportunity to teach around the world in my career, and I would visit certain cities, and for just some finger on, easier to navigate, easier to manage. They just felt more welcoming. There was just something about them. So I started asking questions. And finally, when I was teaching in Jyväskylä in Finland, in Helsinki, I talked to a city planner and she said, oh, we've become an age-friendly city. And I'm back in California and realizing there are 0 age-friendly cities in the state of California. So I was very involved with the senior commission at the time. I became chair, and we got busy and started working on the first ever effort to have Los Altos and Los Altos Hills become an age-friendly city in town. And that was a 2-year process. What we did was we gathered data on under people. We did comprehensive surveys. It was partially funded by the city council. We did mail out surveys. We distributed them far and wide. And then we analyzed those surveys, and we had the surveys based on the 8 domains. And we determined unmet needs at the time, and that was around 2011. And then we started working on projects and programs. The largest effort that we really wanted to support was the new community center and senior center. I mean, that was a bricks and mortar project, and the possibilities of something like that were remote. But we believed in it, we kept pushing for it, and I think community special section for older adults, even as we speak. And we did a variety of other things as well. So the city elected officials and staff were supportive of the work, but they weren't that involved at the time. That has changed. I went on to create the Center for Age-Friendly Excellence. To capture all the knowledge, the know-how, the capacity, the experience and expertise of through this process. Today, we have worked with 21 cities in Santa Clara and in San Mateo counties, and we've established a sister cafe here in Oregon, and we're going to be working with the cities of Central Oregon to become age-friendly as well. We've learned a lot in that process. We have staff on the ground now in both places. And what we do is we facilitation hand in hand with city staff, county staff, mostly county staff right now. And we engage older persons, commissions like yourself, as the sort of qualitative, experiential, wise ones about what is needed and what directions should we pursue in each city that we work with. And we take them through on unmet needs programs, engaging stakeholders in the community, and going forward with recommendations to the city and the county for funding of projects. So we've enjoyed a lot of success in that regard. The next phase of all of this is around what next? Sustainability. The World Health Organization has shifted responsibility for certification and next steps to AARP, So we have formed a relationship with California's AARP, where the AARP is now the receiver and reviewer of applications. They're also providing oversight for sustainability, and that consists of, for the most part, plans or action plans of each community. Cities that have become age-friendly are expected to develop an action plan within 5 years of becoming an age-friendly city. Los Altos and Los Altos Hills earned that status, the first in California, in 2013. And I looked, it was there. So that's what happens with AARP. So AARP, although they are the overseers of next steps, it is sanctioned and it has the seal of approval of the World Health Organization. So its status equal, even though it's AARP who is now the facilitator of the process. And I think if Los Altos and Los Altos Hills wants to go forward with next steps, I think that would be an exciting opportunity to have sustainability, and we'd be delighted to work with staff and yourselves as wise advisors to that process. Bridget, is Sherry around? I think there were some details that she might offer about what you all have been engaged in recent times.
Oh, yes, thank you. Yes, Cherry was right here.
Yes. Hello. Yes. What we found once we spoke with Annabelle about Cafe is that we have been working this program all along. And although it wasn't visible to us at that time, we've been doing things like having activities and programs. Friendly movement is about. For instance, we've done social activities like the Meals program at 2 sites that we have, one at Grant Park and one up at Los Altos Community Center. We've also added social activities like dinner on the patio or coffee on the patio. We had a 40th anniversary that we combined our efforts with the Los Altos Museum to actually host a wonderful event for commemoration. Added educational programming. We've taken on, for instance, a program called Foreign Affairs that was originally with MVLA, and now they are with us as far as with the city of Los Altos. We've added a lecture series where we have different speakers come in. Chair Nagel is a witness to that. She does a lot of that down at Grant Park, and we do it up at Los Altos Community Center. So we are in line that way. With our health and fitness, we have added programs like intergenerational pickleball and ping pong. Also with our community collaborations, History Museum, Los Altos Library for programming. We're doing more and more intergenerational programming through our municipal volunteer partnership, where we have youth who come and volunteer for us as well. So I believe that we've been doing what we would do for a wonderful age-friendly community. So that's what I had to share.
Thank you.
That was very comprehensive, Terry. Thank you so much.
My pleasure.
Annabelle, do you have anything more you'd like to add?
No, I'm available to answer questions if anyone has questions. I'm not sure I can see all hands at once, but I can take a look at the screen if anyone has questions about where we've been and what we're doing. Yes.
We can't hear you.
Muted, he's muted.
I'm sorry.
There you go.
I have a question and a statement. The question involves what are the next set of steps that we ought to take to make sure we maintain our status, and if there is any new requirements that manifest itself from the WHO or from the AARP, we can more or less be sure that we are at least on the right Saturday that issue. And I think we have a line item in our initiative, which you're very well aware of. We have had it on the workbook ever since you were more or less somewhat semi-permanent member of our commission. But so what I want to do is make sure that we take a note of that and perhaps make a initiative to assign a couple of commissioners to form a subcommittee to ensure that this initiative.
Altos and Los Altos Hills became the first age-friendly cities in California in 2013. And they had 5 years to come up with next steps and action plans and current unmet needs. And so you all are 3 years behind. That has not happened. So, and
Okay.
those are just the facts of the case. So Los Altos needs to do a thoughtful, it doesn't need to be massive, but a thoughtful, strategic, targeted look at unmet needs, current unmet needs, not 2 years ago or 5 years ago. It needs to be, what are the current, and
Right.
especially now with COVID change, I think in order to be current, it would be a good idea to gather some data, not a massive project, but some strategic targeted look at unmet needs, and then develop an action plan for how to address unmet needs. And that includes possible projects, possible programs, ideas about funding. They don't have to be funded, but some thoughts about how they could be.
And we have to start with,
yes.
Commissioner Murphy used to more or less be a champion of this, and she has moved out of the area. And ever since she left, this item has been left unattended, basically. I think we need to go back and make sure it is now attended.
Yeah. Well, my sense is that the staff is very engaged and committed to taking next steps. So
Right.
that's good news because it's 3 years past due.
Commissioner,
Committee already. Tony Lee and myself are on that subcommittee, and Tony's got his hand up also. And we are thinking exactly as you are, Dr. Pelham, that a new needs assessment is necessary. I wonder, since the previous one was a rather expensive mail-out survey, are there any suggestions that CAFE might have to do this efficiently?
Yeah. So the model that we use when we work with other cities is we conduct focus groups is what we do. That's a lot more economical. And the qualitative data that you get is excellent, actually. And oftentimes better than a survey, because people around the table will tell you the truth. You know, they'll just tell you what's in their experience, and we carefully write that down. We don't censor or edit. Even their profanity, we keep that part in there too.
No,
I know sometimes city councils don't like that, but there it is. Yeah, so we usually conduct some very targeted focus groups.
Who leads the focus groups?
Well, what we do is we form a task force, and you have one already, of older adults in the community, and we work directly with that task force. And they make recommendations to us about focus groups, who we ought to reach out to groups. And then we share those with the task force, and oftentimes the entire senior commission, if there is one, and oftentimes the city council wants to have a look at what's in that report so they can get a better sense of unmet needs. And we have found that, you know, city councils are very supportive and they want to know. They want to know what the unmet needs are and how they can, you know, try to develop projects and programs to meet them. Oftentimes they're very surprised. There was one city that was pouring a lot of general fund money into a transportation system that they thought was working. It was not. It was failing utterly. But that information didn't get to the city council or the city staff. But we had our boots on the ground and we rode those buses and we stood out there and watched them, and they weren't working. They weren't. So they were quite surprised. 5,000 found out that the system was in fact a failure. But you have to be anthropological about this. You have to be on the ground. You do. In order to understand unmet needs, you have to.
Well, I'm sure the entire commission, but particularly me and Tony, are very eager to have your counsel and wisdom on how do we approach finding appropriate people for a focus group, and what are the questions to be asked?
Oh, yes, yes. Well, we use evidence-based. We use the evidence-based 8 domains of an 8 city. But we have to add some special components now because we add in, you know, in a time of COVID. Other thing is some communities have asked us to add some cities a special question on dementia. It's shocking how many older adults have no idea where to go for help and what to do if they or a loved one are experiencing the early signs or even the later signs of dementia. So we have added that piece in to try to be more helpful to communities.
Great. Anyone else have any more questions for Annabelle?
I have a question.
Mhm.
All right, Commissioner Cohen?
Annabelle,
Yes.
thank you so much for coming today. It's
You're
great.
welcome.
It's great to have someone that attaches point A to point, you know, whatever we're at now. I have a question about the quantitative data. Do you have a doc specific survey tool? Because inventing survey tools, you know, is, you know, disaster.
Yeah,
So what do you suggest?
we can tell you what we do with other cities, which is much more economical, and it's not duplicative. What we do, and I'm the one who writes those reports, so I know. Okay, we look at existing data in the county and existing data in the city that's quantitative, and then we produce reports of existing data, and it's usually pretty good. But they're qualitative, the talking to older adults themselves, face to face, around the table. I plan, you'll be the first to know. I'm around 7:20 tonight. I'm going to be booking a flight to San Francisco, and I'll be in Los Altos after the 4th of July weekend is my plan. I'm fully vaccinated, so I'm happy to meet with anyone, anytime, and talk about this.
Perfect.
Yeah. Happy to do that. Well, we can find some airy place somewhere and sit down together. Yeah, but it's the qualitative that is so absent.
Right.
And so we usually conduct around, oh, it depends on the budget, you know, what people want to do, 3 to 5. I mean, San Jose, we did 12 to 15. I don't think Los Altos or Los Altos Hills needs that many focus groups, but I don't know, 3 perhaps, strategically targeted ones. And then we compile that and give it to you, and you say, aha, oh my, there it is, you know, and then talking, we help people write up the action plans, because those are documents that need real detail and attention, thought. And then those are all, sent over to AARP, and then you're standing on solid ground.
So let me clarify. So will we get a copy of the quantitative data before we start the focus groups?
No, we usually do it simultaneous. Yeah, because they're two completely different data sets.
Right.
Two totally different approaches.
How much
And I have the other,
staff time is that going to require from either the commission or the city?
I'm sorry, I missed the first part.
How much staff time will be needed
Yeah.
from the
Very good question.
city?
Yeah, well, if Cafe has the contract, we do the heavy lifting, we do the work. And the important thing is we want to understand and need to understand, what does the city want? We're not going to helicopter into a city or community. Like, what was the pros from Frisco phrase? No, we don't do that. So, yeah. What we do is we walk in with a servant's heart, with humility, and we sit down and ask, what do you want? What do you want us to do? What are your goals? What are your objectives? And then we get busy and go to work and plan. And it's really up to you and the staff, the city staff, about what you would like us to do. And we have suggestions and recommendations about what would be, good approaches to meeting those goals and objectives.
one more question, please.
Go ahead, Commissioner Cohen.
Could you explain the financial have as through the different steps for the consultative fees and whatever we?
It just, again, it depends on what you want to do. I mean, I think for what Los Altos Hills is thinking about, I don't think it's a massive job like we're doing with San Mateo County. That's a rather large project. I think it's a smaller project. I think for next steps, what I would recommend is that myself and my senior staff have a meeting with you and talk about what it is you want. What would you like to do? What would you like to see accomplished? Where are you headed? How can you create the backbone of society? And you do them, that's not exhausting, and this ought to be fun, and it's social change, and it's fun. So I would say next step would be a sit down. I have a document that I can share with you that's somewhat dated, but it's awfully good. I'll send it to Bridget.
Great.
And there are 5 principles there that I would highly recommend that you look at and say, yeah, this is kind of where we want to go. And then we can help you with a strategy and tactics to get to that place. You want. We're collaborative. We walk hand in hand with our community colleagues.
Commissioner Becerra?
Yeah, I just was wondering if this, I guess this is something that you refer to can be called a framework document or something like that. Is that available online that we could perhaps take a look at it?
Yeah, I would. Yeah, I'll send it. I'm gonna send the whole thing to Bridget in about and look at it. Yeah, it's freely available.
Got it. Thank you.
It's very comprehensive, and it's I think those 5 principles really lay out what a community ought to be thinking about as they plan for the older adult population.
Leo's did you have something you understood?
Yes, hello, council members, commissioners. I just wanted to make a recommendation, since we have a subcommittee that they meet with staff and with Annabelle. And once we share the information with everybody, give you some time to read it and absorb it. And it can.
That's,
Sounds great idea.
Oops.
sounds
All
good.
right. Anything else? Anybody else have any more questions? Oh, okay. Any public comment? No? Well, Dr. Pelham, thank you so much for your time and your expertise, and we look forward to meeting with you.
Oh, you're very welcome indeed. Delighted to see you.
Annabelle, before you leave, can you hear me?
I
Oh,
can't.
yeah.
I just wanted to pop on and say thank you so much for being here. Thanks for all the work that I know you have done. And effort. So thank you, and really nice seeing you.
Oh, it's my joy. It's my
I
joy.
know.
I travel to Los Altos all the time. I'll be there right after the 4th of July again. So I'm there often. Yeah.
Great.
My second home. Okay.
Thank you very much.
Okay. I'll say bye-bye then. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
All right. So, Liaison Matheson. Now is where I go and ask for minutes. Any comments on the minutes from last meeting? No?
If I
Yes.
may, we
Yes.
just, the first thing before we start that is if there's public comment on items not on the agenda.
Oh,
That's,
Right.
that's first.
any public comments on items that are not on the agenda?
Okay.
Guess not. All right, now can we go and talk about the minutes? All right, so does anybody have any corrections or additions to the minutes? Commissioner Buckholz?
Committee, and I'm not remembering the exact name of it, but there were other more senior and wiser people already on that committee.
That was the Transportation Committee. I
Yeah.
saw that too, and that was kind of news to me, but I thought, thinking, maybe I missed something. And you don't recall that either. All right.
No. So
I don't anybody recall that Commissioner Buckholz raised his hand to be on the Transportation Committee.
It's not on the work plan, though. So in the minutes, Bill, what's on the minutes?
I never raised my hand for the Transportation Committee.
So
Chris,
you're not on the work plan. It's just
Not on the work plan, so,
it's a correction in the minutes then.
okay.
All right, so we'll correct the minute as noted. All right, can we get a motion to accept the minutes with the correction?
I move to accept the minutes as corrected.
All right,
A second.
yes?
Second. Second the motion.
Okay, great, thank you. All right, motion is passed.
We have to vote on that, don't we?
Oh,
All in favor?
vote on that.
Aye.
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 You're muted, Jim.
I have to abstain because I wasn't here last time.
All right.
Okay. All right, so item number 3, the fall and winter senior workshop. Discuss fall and winter workshop ideas based on the evaluation of the spring workshops.
Mm-hmm.
Any comments? Discussion?
I don't really know exactly what that is.
Well, I think we, if I may speak, Madam Chair.
Yes,
I
please.
think 2 or 3 commission meetings back, we decided to conduct a collection of workshops. Part of it was in Los Altos Hills, and if I'm not mistaken, part of in Los Altos. And I believe the best person to comment on the success or any issues with those workshops would be the staff members. Los Altos Hills have our own, and I don't see her here now. So, Richard, you might want to comment.
Absolutely. Just wanted to check,
Yeah.
do a sound check.
No, we-
Okay. That was one of the ideas, is to see how the workshops were going in the spring, to then just, as the commission, decide what additional workshops you're interested in for the fall. And so I know, because they did happen with the Hills, Sarah would probably have a better insight. One of the other things, though, is I was actually going to ask our fabulous senior coordinator, Miss Cheryl Anderson, if she's heard from staff or staff input or from the community about any workshops. So that was the other piece, just if she's heard of any potentials.
Well, if I may say, what we've been doing is offering workshops that are requested by the community. We'll get information from different organizations who are doing webinars and workshops and such. And from there, we will either collaborate with them, or I will go and find someone who is an expert on that topic, and from there get their services to come and do a webinar. That's what we've been doing since we've had the shutdown with the COVID. So that's how we've been handling the different workshops and webinars, if that helps.
That helps.
So if I may, Madam Chair, I'll take an action to talk to Sarah to make sure she in writing will just more or less comment on the success or any issues with the workshop that have been conducted, and going forward, do we need to conduct a continuation of those workshops?
All right, thank you. Yes, Commissioner Cohen?
From what I remember, we were presented with about 8+ topics of workshops, maybe 10, and we chose in priority order which ones would go first, and then maybe
Right.
which ones would go second. So I think that's what this item is addressing, the ones that were presented by Los Altos Hills by Sarah, and it's an outside
Right.
vendor that was doing free workshops for both of
Right.
our communities. So I think we do need the feedback from Sarah about how they went, and also I think if we have more choices of workshops, we should include them in the agenda so that we can then go ahead and pick 2 more.
Exactly.
So I think that was our plan originally. What does everyone else remember about that?
Absolutely right.
Yeah.
So I think we need the feedback, and then we need to see the list, because we're ready probably to choose another 1 or 2.
Correctly said, correctly stated.
Senji, will you take that on?
I will. I'm going to talk to Sarah and make sure she basically in writing describes the status of the workshop. I think they were on, if I'm not mistaken, the item that she chose to follow through and based on our recommendation was aging documentation. That's what I think it was. And so I'll make sure that she gives us feedback on that, and then we can decide what to do next, just as Commissioner Cohen mentioned.
Thank you.
Yes, Commissioner Buckholz?
One of the things that I do recall is that they was supposed to be a webinar documents. Talking about?
Exactly, that's right.
Choices, yeah. There were
Yeah.
two choices we made. They were scheduled, so, yeah.
Okay.
Sherry has her hand up.
Oh, hi, Cherry.
Hi, forgive me. I remembered that there was one that was similar to the advanced directive workshop that one of the commissioners did several years for us, but it was more on the advanced directive. So if that's something that would help joggle your memory.
Yeah, this particular one, if I'm not mistaken, wasn't about advanced directive. It was about a couple of other things. What kind of documentation, in terms of will and testament, that kind of stuff. I think he flew back to us.
Great, great. Commissioner Beckholz?
The advanced care planning is certainly dear to my heart. And if you would like to have a webinar on that, Doris is apparently no longer operative. I don't see her at meetings or anything of that sort. So I would be happy to do that as a solo. Perhaps I can get a nurse or something also who's worked with palliative care and hospice.
Very good.
That would be great. All right. Are we good with that? Are we ready to move on to item number 4?
Yes.
Okay, so fiscal year 21-22 work plan. So we're going to discuss about the joint meeting we had with the council last month. And we had a couple of topics that we were covering on our work plan, and they were very receptive and they asked a lot of very good questions. So they seemed to appear that they liked our work plan and what we had on our agenda. So some of those others who have been at that meeting, would you like to join in? Any comments on that?
Well, I would say I would agree with the city council was very supportive of the revisions we had done and understanding of the limited scale or scope due to the ongoing COVID. But we're very appreciative of the staff continuing the over Zoom. Seem very pleased with that.
Yeah. Anyone else? Well, the one thing that I also remember was the suggestion that we change the title of our commission based on wanting it to be more inclusive and not sounding like it's being exclusive. So as they've changed their own programs within the council or the rec department to 50 plus, does anybody have any thoughts or feelings about that? Yes, Commissioner Buchholz.
I was enlightened to find out that though I'm be 76 next week, I am not a senior because I'm way too active. And so there is saying senior to somebody who is out walking with you or playing tennis is an insult. So name change is in order. Okay.
All right. So without putting it on the spot, maybe we should think about that. And unless someone has some brilliant idea at this point, I'm open.
Did they have a recommendation?
Saying, the concern when I thought about that was that it wasn't going to be so encompassing that it was being misunderstood, so that we're not going to try to entice 20-year-olds to do things that we're really interested in. So I don't know, open for discussion on that.
If I may make a comment, I've been at the commission for a better part of, I think, 6 years now. Come up before investigation from the city council, but because of the members, own interest in trying to figure out what are we really doing. And we always run into the issue that was mentioned, you Chair, Madam Chair mentioned, namely the fact that we want to make sure the focus remains on the people who need the services the most, and they happen to be in certain age brackets, which happen to exclude people in the 50s. It's more like 60, 65, 70 and above. So I would be a little hesitant to just jump into this, largely because of lack of focus, because of losing the focus. But I'm all open to any suggestion you all can consider, but I just felt like it's necessary to talk about the background of this issue and what was discussed about it earlier.
Okay, that's before.
To discuss a name change, was that what?
Correct, to discuss any suggestions for name change, or if we really need a name change.
I think Commissioner Boxall has his hand up.
Oh, sorry.
How
Yes,
about mature adults?
okay.
Those of us who are well marinated.
For yourself, I'm not a mature adult.
We used to use that when we had really senior staff at the high school. We call ourselves seasoned teachers.
Seasoned adults.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's right.
Right.
So tricky because
It
Does
is.
anyone else have
yes,
on that joint meeting? No? Okay, do we have any public comments on the joint meeting? All right, then we're going to move on to item 5, informational items.
Chris,
Please,
just the little tweaks, or there is also the work plan committee. So that was just the other part of that item, was to discuss the joint council, and then just if you'd wanted me to put up the work plan again to look at one more time. Would you like me to do that?
Commissioner Cohen? Yes, let's do that.
Okay. I would be happy to do that. Can everybody see this?
Yes.
Push it a little
Okay.
bit. We can't see the last.
Not yet.
We can't see there we go.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I think that since Commissioner Hugh has resigned, is that official? Did she send a formal
Yes.
resignation? I think we need to make a change in the first goal, the third program down, where she's listed with
Right.
and we will probably need one more person to fill in right there. I don't know if we have to decide right now, but that is one change that we would want to make.
We can decide that right now, Commissioner Cohen, because I'm willing to step into that.
Okay, that'd be,
Oh, perfect, thank you.
okay.
All right, any other comments on the work plan?
It's a living document, so don't worry. If you can't think of things now, there's things that can always be adjusted.
possibly on enhanced health and wellness. At this point, the immunization, at least locally, is very popular. And we have herd immunity pretty much in the county. I would, for advanced care planning.
Right. Very good idea.
Okay,
Very good idea.
And to make the word advanced into a past tense, advanced,
No, advance.
okay? I was just clarifying.
yep,
And the programming part is no.
Advanced directive is advanced, right? It has a D at the end, right?
No,
We were talking about planning in advance.
Oh, okay, all right, got it, got
it's
it. Thank you.
planning.
Okay,
Yeah, got it.
Contemporaneous.
thank you for clarifying that.
Do we need to put planning in front of advance to make it,
No,
no? Okay,
please.
all right. Anything else on the plan?
So Bridget, could you redate it and send it back out to us, please?
Yes,
Right.
of course.
Thank you.
And just so right here, and I will send it out to you all.
Go, girl.
And always hit save. That's important.
Thank
Right.
you.
Would you like me to stop sharing this or are you?
Are we finished with this work plan? Sounds
For the
like
moment?
you can
Okay,
stop.
Yes.
okay.
All right. Now, item 5.
Okay, that I think is me.
I think
Thank you. Thank you, Chair. I have a lot to read, so I will go not too fast, but bear with me for just a moment. And I will be representing Sarah. Let me make sure I'm sharing this with everyone. Apologies. Okay, we don't want that one. Have it ready. Okay. So Los Altos Hills, planning senior care options. This is a workshop. Are you or do you have a family member that are aging quickly? Options are available. The COVID pandemic. Our presentation will help you prepare for issues such as dealing with a senior who may be resistant to help, family caregiver, burnout, hiring and home caretakers. Lots of wonderful topics here. That is for July 21st, Wednesday at 11:30 to 1. This is the link. So that, and then we've got memoir writing, tell your story, discover your legacy. That's another wonderful workshop. And that one's going to be August the 11th through September 1st. It's a Wednesday from 1 to 2:30, virtual. We have fee information there. Virtual consultation offered by More Time for your professional organizer and productivity specialists. And I'll just read it. You have likely been spending a lot of time at home this year and you would really love to have less clutter, but do not know where to start. I need this one. This sounds like a great training. 1 hour appointments available, phone call or video chat. We have the fee information here. There will be an Independence Day caravan on Sunday, July 4th from 10 to 11. Join the red, white, and blue spirit and view the Los Altos Hills Independence Day caravan. And it says if you're unable to walk to see the caravan from your home, we encourage viewers to stay in your car and park at Gardner Bullis or Purusima Park. And we've got the link here for more information on that. Pending classic car show event. So given continuing pandemic restrictions in lieu of the town picnic this year, the Community Relations Committee proposes that a classic car show be held from 10 to 2, Sunday, July 25th, 2021. And then we have the Los Altos Hills versus the Los Altos adult softball game. The city of Los Altos and the town of Los Altos Hills is currently recruiting adults to play in the softball game scheduled for Saturday, August 14th. Thank you. From 1 to 3 at Purusima Park. And Sarah and Chris are doing the registrations over at the Hills. So for the different links. And just for further information, you can reach out to Sarah or call her directly. It looks like we're promoting this a little early, just because we want to make sure that we have enough teams. So I want to say Los Altos is almost full, but the Hills is still looking for folks. So just for updated information, reach out to Sarah or you can give her a call. And now over to the City of Los Altos. The first question I just want all on the holiday. So one of the things I wanted to throw out is, would the commission like a break? If you would, we could forgo and have our next meeting in August. Or if you want to have a meeting in July, it would be that second week, which I believe is, I want to say it's the 12th. I don't have it quite in front of me. So that was just something I wanted to ask the commission. How does the commission feel?
I think
Would
it's
you
the,
like
it's the 8th. No?
It's
Oh, 8th is the first one, so it would be the 12th.
yes, and so I'm actually just double checking. So if the commission would like a break, that is absolutely fine. So I wanted to throw that out there. Are you interested in taking a little break and picking up in August, or would you like to have a meeting in July on the 12th?
So do we have comments on that?
Well, I guess we look at what's coming at us on the 5th. Are there issues? And
Evan, another thing, subcommittees can meet in between meetings as well.
Yeah.
So just, just to put that out there.
well, the one that's been mentioned is the meeting with Annabelle Pelham. But that's a
Oh,
subject.
she mentioned she'd be here after July 4th. So if you wanted to have a face-to-face with her, it would be July. I think she prefers the face-to-face, and she mentioned the open air kind of thing.
Yeah.
So that would be after July 4th. So
It's like we could postpone it till the following to August, but that's, as I'm looking at.
Would the commission be okay with? And Annabelle, one thing I can say is she's, well, you already know she's a delight. And so subcommittees can meet in between meetings. So Cherry and myself have already had the privilege of talking with her. So just there's no pressure, but that was just something we wanted to put out there for you guys. Maybe you want a little break.
One other question I had is we had talked about participating in the planning for the opening of the center in all of this.
exactly, right.
Are you referring, Commissioner O'Reilly, are you referring to the grand opening of the new community center?
Yes.
So just so you know, and I know Donna's in the audience, but we are currently working on details, and we will definitely reach out with more details on that, and you'll definitely be in the loop.
Well, my question is, would our postponing it until August get in the way of that?
I don't believe grand opening is going to be in the fall.
Okay.
And staff needs to work on some general details first. We need to have a general plan before we get our different partners involved. So we will definitely, I think we have a lot of community stakeholders that are interested, but we do need to get some more details before we go further on that.
Well, with that clarification, then I would vote that we postpone until August.
I second that.
All right.
Okay.
All in favor?
And you don't have to actually, I don't believe you have to vote on this one,
Oh, okay.
but
I mean,
it's more of just getting a feel if it's okay. Okay,
It's okay.
so
It's okay with me.
okay. Well, and I will just continue on with the report. We do have a Recreation Leader 2 position that is now available. Commissioner Cohen was intrigued by that, and she had asked a question. So this would actually be working with our adult program. So with our fabulous senior staff led by Cherry. So the ad was just put up at the end of last week. So if you know of anyone who's interested, please have them apply. This is the link. You can definitely reach out to me for further questions, but we just wanted to share that. Our summer session is actually officially starting next week. It's from June 14th to August 28th. Below is our registration link. You can see all the wonderful classes we'll be having. There's about 170 different classes available.
Wow.
And just a reminder, if you haven't set up your Civic Rec account, it's very easy. If you can order a package from Amazon, you can definitely set up an account. It's very straightforward. But if you're not sure, please definitely call our main number, the 650-947-2790, or you can email us at recinfo@losaltosca.gov, and we have our fabulous staff that's there to assist. And our virtual recreation center has some fabulous different links for you to check out, different ongoings, videos, how-tos, and we have our COVID resource link. These are a few pets and emergency preparedness. These are classes that are in collaboration with Fire and Ann Heppenstall. So there's one tonight. I was at 7, is the link below. Learn about storing emergency supplies and preparing for evacuations. We have a climate change. Join Lauren Weston from Axtera on June 17th at 11 via Zoom. For more information, you would call 650-947-2797. Be ready, be prepared. Class in Cantonese. This is on June 17th at 6. It's Santa Clara County Fire will present a Be Ready, Be Prepared class in Cantonese. This is the link for that. COVID-19 questions and answers with Dr. Yu, June 23rd at 7:30. Join local family practice physician, Dr. Ed Yu, for an update on the latest in medical science and to get your COVID-19 questions answered. Caregivers who need to know before the emergency, June 24th at 7:30. Learn how to recognize medical emergencies and when to call 911. There's a link below how to get more information about that one.
Mhm.
And then we have our On the Move Ride Care program, which it's been rebranded. That's our on-demand program. We've just rebranded it. That program is available. And then it's also on our website. Ride services must take place between July 1st, 2021 and June 30th, 2022. You can create a Civic Rec account. This is the link to do that. This program is for ages 50 years and older. The requirements are the same, and COVID has been added. You just meet the guidelines listed in number 4, but this is absolutely available. And for more information about this program, you can call 650-947-2797. And that is our combined staff informations report for today.
Fantastic. Very
Lots of-
good.
Thank
I know
you.
it's a little long.
Job.
Very complete.
Very much so. So next, do I go to commissioners' reports and comments?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, commissioner reports and comments. Nothing?
Bill's hand is up. Bill's hand was up.
Hi, Bill.
Um,
Commissioner Buchholz.
We, Tony Lee and I, and Cherry and Bridget, are forward. This was before we spoke with Annabelle Pelham. The consensus was really pretty much exactly as she suggested. The only difference, I think, was the using of focus groups rather than questionnaires. But we are in full agreement with the wise one.
Okay.
Just for, may I make a comment? I don't have anything to say, but I'd like to make a comment. As a follow on to Commissioner Buchholz. Can you please make sure the focus groups going forward include people from Los Altos Hills?
Sure.
Thank you. And I can get some list for you if you want, or list of names. Cherry, I can work with Sarah. We can work with the staff to more or less create that list. I'm sure not everybody on the list will volunteer for the focus group, but nonetheless, they should be asked.
Okay.
I have a question about whether this is permitted or not. But I would really invite all of the commissioners to consider what you personally think might be needed. Because I think that as a group,
Yes.
I know that Vice Chair Cohen has mentioned a considerable need for reaching the isolated seniors. And so there are things that we all notice, and any input from colleagues is really, really invited.
Well stated. Yeah. Anything else? Any other comments?
Something, again, I'd like to make a comment on that, and that is some of the observation that you might hear may not even apply to the, because they apply to the elderly.
They apply to the human beings.
Absolutely.
That's better, thank you.
Chris?
Yes, Commissioner Cohen.
So I think the focus groups are, the questions that the focus groups will be discussing are the 8 items on, the 8 elements under the age friendly. But my comment about the focus groups, and I hope that you can discuss this with Annabelle, is that it takes a tremendous amount of expertise to conduct focus groups effectively.
Oh, right.
Just can't get the person, like I don't feel qualified to do that. You need to have expert training in order to do that. So can you bring that up with her as to, how we would source that, how we would get that?
I'm well aware. See.
People think it's like a social little group. It's very specific and you have to really know how to do it. So, yeah.
No, I have my notes here about that, what she was saying, the task force recommends individuals who have expertise in this. So I don't think it'd be incumbent upon us to come up with a name.
I suspect she probably means CAFE will provide some needed assistance in that area.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank
All right.
you.
Any more comments? So, Bridget, how are we going to go about filling Commissioner Yu's position?
I have already reached out to Sarah Robustelli. I also let she is a Los Altos Hills resident. It would be up to Los Altos Hills to do the recruiting.
Yeah, the way it worked in the past, and there's no reason why it should work the same here. It will get raised to our city clerk, which is Deborah Padawan, and she'll put it on the council agenda and a recruiting agenda. And so the position will be recruited and will be advertised and recruited, and some vetting will take place if you're lucky enough that more than one person applies. So then we can, the council will vet it, and then we ultimately hear from them.
Yeah, that's great. I'm glad to hear that's going to be something that's done right away. All right. Anyone else have anything they'd like to add?
Public comment. Is there any public comment?
Oh, yes, public comment. Do we have any public comments on our comments? So do we have any future agenda items we'd like to put on the next? Yes.
I think it was indicated that we would possibly put on there the consideration of renaming our commission.
Yes.
And the other one was maybe coming from some report out about the fall and winter workshops and evaluation.
Exactly, yeah. So, yeah. I suspect those will be handled by the staff, right? I mean, right.
Having the list available of the next.
Right.
Liaison Matheson?
If I may, what we could do is, because I know that our liaison from the Hills wasn't able to come, we could have that as an agenda, same agenda item again, because that was, I think, part of it was for her to do a report, and then for August, perhaps everyone can think about, and this goes with for the senior staff, if there's been community members that have reached out, it could be a discussion and then a report to determine that next step.
Okay. Commissioner Cohen?
Commissioner Buckholz and Commissioner Lee, I think, are going to meet with Annabelle before our August meeting, and it would be nice to get a report from them. Committee meeting with Annabelle. Could we add that to the list?
Actually, if I believe that would be a commission report. So that's already on the agenda. So whenever you talk about commission reports, that's from your work plan. So that's the time to give updates for that. It's already on there.
Okay, thank you.
Sure.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Do we have anything else we'd like to add at this time? So do we have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second.
All right, thank you.
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you for your time and expertise.
Thank you.
All right.
Have a wonderful 4th of July, everybody.
Yeah.
Yep, you too.
Thank you, Chris, and all.
You in August.
Thanks.
Thank you, staff.
Thanks, everybody. Thanks, Chris.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Dan, you can stop recording now.